My favorite lesson from a Yale online course is Where Does Space Start? In the online course, Rocket Science for Everyone. In this lesson, Professor Marla Gayha talks about where does the line start between us being on Earth and going into space. I love this lesson because Marla has this amazing diagram where she shows where commercial and military airplanes, Mount Everest, hot air balloons, how they all measure up in terms of kilometers or feet from Earth's ground all the way up to the Kármán line. And that shows where space begins. A really fun fact, space isn't that far away. If you drove your car at regular speed straight into space, it would only take you 1 hour to get there. That means you don't even need to bring snacks in the car.
My favorite lesson from a Yale online course is actually from a course that's going to be released soon called LGBTQ Affirmative Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. And the lesson is a therapy vignette about anxiety triggers. We have one of the instructors who is a therapist sitting with an actor and they're acting out a therapy session. And it's so insightful and the therapist's voice is so soothing. It's just a really both enjoyable and informative lesson to watch. And I've really enjoyed working on that course as well.
A favorite lesson of mine was from the Urban Climate Certificate Program from the Yale School of the Environment by Dr. Anthony Leisowitz, where he talked about the impact of public action and how what we do on a day-to-day basis can really impact climate change. Some of these things that really stood out for me were that our choices like where we choose to live, what we choose to eat, and even our mode of transportation really actually does make a difference. Another thing that stood out was when he talked about social signaling and the impact of seeing people who are very similar to us doing these things in their lives and how it really impacts those around them to make similar choices. What I'm going to remember is that our actions do make a difference, especially for something as critical as climate change.
My favorite lesson from a Yale online course is the special praise lesson from Everyday Parenting taught by Dr. Alan Kasten. The reason why I picked it is because I still remember this lesson even though I worked on it 7-8 years ago. And the 3 ingredients of special praise are it has to be enthusiastic and effusive, specific and concrete, and have a non-verbal, gentle touch aspect to it. So the example Dr. Alan Kasten gives in the course is, Mildred, great job! You cleaned up the toys just like I asked you to do. Gentle touch. And so I use this with my niece and my nephew, and I hope that parents watching this might try this out as well.
My favorite lecture video from all the Yale offerings today is from Introduction to Breast Cancer with Dr. Anees Chagpar. It's in week 3, and it's the very first video called Breast Cancer Basics. The reason this is such a compelling lecture video to me is that what you're seeing available in the course is exactly what you could expect when walking into Dr. Chagpar's office to review a complicated or complex procedure or understand what's happening as a patient. I can only imagine the stress and anxiety a patient may feel walking into her office on a given day to have a really intimate and difficult conversation. But she puts you right to ease, talking about the procedure, talking to you face to face, but also she draws out what's happening step by step, moment by moment, whether in the procedure or discussing a complex scenario. And that's exactly what she covers in the lecture content as well. We invite you to join us in Introduction to Breast Cancer.
The lesson I chose is from the course Understanding Medical Research, Your Facebook Friend is Wrong. It's entitled, The Question Is, What is the Question? Dr. Wilson explains that basically all medical research is seeking to link these things called exposures, what you do, whether you go hiking or eat kale, to these things called outcomes, what you are, what you will be. Are you wealthy or poor? Are you sick or healthy? And they do this by asking questions and then trying to answer them through observation and experimentation. Sounds simple, right? Well, not always, because sometimes medical researchers can't ask the question they really want to ask. So what they'll do is ask and answer a related question, which is also fine. What's not fine, but what happens quite a bit, is that then somebody will come in and claim that those researchers actually answered the initial bigger question when they in fact haven't. And that's when it's a good time to step back, kind of look at the research and ask the question, what is the question? What is this research actually answering? This course gives you the skills and knowledge you need to look beyond these bold claims that these articles are making, look directly at the source, these medical manuscripts, and interpret for yourself exactly what question is being answered and what this article is saying. And that's an incredibly powerful tool to use. And it's not just useful for medical research. You can can take these skills and apply them to the entire world of information around you. And that's really important because there's a lot of spin and misinterpretation out there, and sometimes the authors of these articles don't have your best interest in mind.